Today in the headlines, Amazon caps off earnings week with a better than expected performance. Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition, all the daily AI news you need in around 5 minutes. We kick off today with an upside surprise from Amazon. Now, I think at this point, it's fair to say that 2025 has been a bit of a rough one for Amazon. Alexa finally made it to market, but it was met with pretty underwhelming reviews. Google appeared to swoop in on their big Anthropic partnership in a 10-figure deal that highlighted Google's custom silicon. While there was initial excitement around Amazon Nova, that buzz has petered off pretty significantly. And of course, for the past week, they have become the poster boy for AI layoffs. Turns out that is very much not the full story. AWS posted quarterly revenues of $33 billion, up 20% from last year and recording their highest growth rate since 2022. Analysts had only forecast 18% growth, and there's nothing analysts love more than underestimating a fast-growing tech stock. E-commerce sales were also a slight outperformance, coming in at $180 billion for 13% growth. As we saw with Google's earnings on Wednesday, ROI justifies CapEx, and Amazon is the current leader in AI spending. They bumped up the forecast for this year's CapEx to $125 billion, exceeding the analyst forecast of $119 billion. That's up 55% year over year, with the expectation it will continue increasing next year as well. CEO Andy Jassy said, "We continue to see strong demand in AI and core infrastructure, and we've been focused on accelerating capacity, adding more than 3.8 gigawatts in the past 12 months. He also had some fighting words for the other hyperscalers, commenting, "Percentage growth is a relative term. It's very different having 20% year-over-year growth on a $132 billion annualized run rate than to have a higher percentage growth rate on a meaningfully smaller annual revenue, which is the case with our competitors." The markets like the spunk and they like the news, and the stock was up 13% in after-hours trading, making Amazon surprisingly the best performer during this big week of tech earnings. Now, one important note that came from the earnings call was Jassy disavowing the notion that Amazon's 14,000 white-collar layoffs were anything to do with AI. He told investors the layoffs were, quote, "not really financially driven, and it's not even really AI-driven, not right now. It's culture." He explained that Amazon had added a ton of headcount, a lot of locations, and a lot of business lines over recent years. So, he said, "You end up with a lot more people than you had before, and you end up with a lot more layers. Sometimes without realizing it, you can weaken the ownership of the people that you have who are doing the actual work." He continued, "It can lead to slowing you down as a leadership team. We are committed to operating like the world's largest startup, and that means removing layers." Now, AI certainly has a part of this story, but it's a much more nuanced part than it's been reported. I think it's clear that they're positioning for a future where you don't need as many people to do the same amount of work. At the same time, it's very clearly not AI replacing people right now. In fact, if you just have to pin it down to one thing, Jassy is basically saying this is a reversal of overhiring after the pandemic. Pretty much period, full stop. Now, one of the sub-stories of the way that analysts talk about this that's so funny to me is that they're just having such a hard time understanding that there might be a change in how companies want to spend their money. Jack Farley, who hosts the great Monetary Matters podcast, if you're interested in macro, writes, "Very strong quarter from Amazon, no doubt. But at the same time, Amazon's free cash flow is collapsing. AI CapEx is consuming so much capital. But also, they're spending free cash flows rather than raising debt. It is such a foreign concept right now that there might be a better way to invest profits to get a better return than buybacks." I don't know, man. For my money, companies investing in a future that they're very convinced in seems a lot better than just artificially juicing their stock price. But what do I know? Now, speaking of funding structures, while Amazon might be using free cash flow, data center funding markets are on fire as Meta closes a record corporate bond deal. Meta closed a $30 billion bond sale this week to fund their data center build-out. The deal was the highest large-grade corporate debt issuance this year. Sources said the deal attracted orders for $125 billion, showing massively outsized demand from investors to fund AI CapEx. According to Bloomberg data, this is the largest demand ever for corporate bond sale. Now, these bonds aren't paying wildly excessive returns. They range between 5 and 40 years in maturity and are expected to pay 1.4 percentage points over Treasury yields for the longer-dated instruments. Interestingly, this sale was reported shortly after Meta's earnings report, which saw the stock tumble on fears of ramping CapEx with no clear connection to ROI. Turns out that the bond market has a much longer-term horizon. And again, if you are trying to be a nuanced watcher of AI bubbles, keep an eye on whether we start to see a shift in how much demand for corporate debt around this stuff there is. If all of a sudden we see these sort of bond sales starting to scrape the bottom of the barrel, that's when things might be looking a little tricky. Next up, the latest in the layoff theme, YouTube has offered staff voluntary buyouts as they restructure their organization around, you guessed it, AI. Tech reporter Alex Heath broke the news on his Sources blog, obtaining a copy of an internal memo from YouTube CEO Neil Mohan. Mohan wrote, "Looking to the future, the next frontier for YouTube is AI, which has the potential to transform every part of the platform. We need to set ourselves up to make the most of this opportunity." He referred to this as the first update to YouTube's core leadership structure in a decade. The structure will shift 3 product groups to report directly to Mohan, along with additional reshuffling of divisions. YouTube said that no layoffs would take place as part of the shakeup. Instead, US-based staff who are, quote, ready for a new challenge will be offered severance as part of a voluntary exit program. While it would be very easy to be cynical about the corporate speak here, I think it's actually part and parcel of the same story we saw with Jassie's comments about Amazon layoffs. That when we say AI layoffs, we might be talking about a couple very different things. On the one hand, are just straight up, we don't need you anymore because AI can do your job sort of layoffs. On the other hand are, we anticipate that 10 years down the line, because of a new digital hybridized workforce that includes both agents and humans, we're going to need less people than we do now for the current set of activities. That doesn't mean that we won't need more people for new things that haven't come around yet, but for the stuff that we offer now, we need to start moving towards a different organizational structure. I think we're going to see a lot of these types of preemptive and proactive restructurings over the course of the coming year. Little bit of investment news. NVIDIA plans to invest $1 billion into AI coding company Poolside. Poolside is primarily focused on building foundation models that are used on programming, rather than IDEs and applications to support the use case. They released their first product last year after being founded in 2023 by former GitHub CTO Jason Warner. Bloomberg reports that they're currently seeking $2 billion in fundraising that would quadruple the company's valuation to $12 billion. NVIDIA already invested $500 million into Poolside during their last fundraising round in October of 2024. Poolside plans to use a portion of their fresh capital to fund the purchase of NVIDIA GB300 chips, according to sources. And for Poolside, this fundraising lines up with plans to build out their own compute ambitions. Earlier this month, Bloomberg reported on a deal with CoreWeave to build a 2 gigawatt capacity data center in West Texas to support their model training and inference needs. On the feature side of the house, Canva has added new AI tools in a push to keep up with the rapid evolution of design. The new tools leverage Gen AI to create and edit posters, short videos, and presentations using natural language prompts. The release comes just a few months after a major product overhaul in April, and notably within days of Adobe unveiling their big AI update. The product update seeks to reframe Canva as an AI-powered creative operating system, which integrates AI into every layer of content creation. Essentially, they're looking to move away from template-based creation into a more freeform workflow driven by Gen AI. One example of how this might work is their approach to semi-automated brand advertising. Co-founder Cameron Adams said, "Canva automatically scans your website, figures out who your audience is, what assets you use to promote your products, the message it needs to send out, the formats you want to send it out in, makes it creative for you, and you can deploy it directly to the platform without having to leave Canva." This, I think, is part and parcel of the productization era of AI that I think we were quickly moving into. Canva's updates are following the theme closely, with a real emphasis on integrating existing AI capabilities into full product suites that allow people to get bigger chunks of work done. That's a theme that we are going to very much keep an eye on, but for now, that's going to do it for today's headlines. Next up, the main episode.